The vast expanse of space stretched out before the massive viewscreen. Admiral Zixtor stood tall, his forearms clasped behind his back as he gazed at the countless stars. His reptilian eyes narrowed, a mix of pride and arrogance evident in his stance. For 10,000 years, the Galactic Empire had ruled supreme. Hundreds of alien races bowed to their might, offering tribute and technology to the self-proclaimed masters of the universe. Zixtor allowed himself a small smile, his scaled lips curling upward. Yes, the Empire was truly invincible. "Admiral," a nervous voice chirped from behind him. "We've detected an anomaly in Sector 7. Zixtor turned, facing the small bird-like alien at the control panel. "Speak, Lieutenant Kree. What kind of anomaly?" Kree's feathers ruffled as he tapped at the holographic display. It's a new planet, sir. One that wasn't there before." The Admiral's interest peaked. New planets didn't just appear out of nowhere. "Show me," he commanded, striding over to the control panel. A 3D image flickered to life, displaying a blue and green world spinning slowly on its axis. Zixtor leaned in, his eyes widening. "Impossible," he muttered. "How did we miss this?" "Unknown, sir," Kree replied, his voice trembling. "But scans indicate life. Intelligent life." The room fell silent. The discovery of a new intelligent species was rare, happening only once or twice a century. Zixtor's mind raced with the possibilities. New subjects for the Empire, new resources to exploit, new technologies to assimilate. "Prepare a first contact team," he ordered, his voice filled with excitement. "I want to know everything about this planet and its inhabitants." As the crew scurried to obey, Zixtor returned to the viewscreen. He stared at the newly discovered world, already imagining how it would look with the Empire's flag planted firmly on its surface. Weeks passed as the Empire's fastest ships raced towards the mysterious planet. Zixtor pored over every scrap of data they could gather from long-range scans. The planet, which they had named Terra, was teeming with life, but it was the readings of artificial structures and energy signatures that truly caught his attention. "They're not primitives," he mused aloud, addressing his advisors. "This species has technology. Not as advanced as ours, of course, but intriguing." One of his advisors, a gelatinous being named Blob, gurgled in agreement. "Perhaps they will make useful servants, Admiral. Their planet seems rich in resources." Zixtor nodded, already envisioning the wealth and power Terra would bring to the Empire. "Prepare the standard subjugation protocols. We'll offer them the chance to join us peacefully, but if they resist..." He left the threat hanging in the air. Finally, after months of anticipation, the day of first contact arrived. Zixtor stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Imperial Fist, as they entered Terra's solar system. Smaller ships swarmed around them, ready to deploy diplomats or soldiers as needed. "Sir," Kree called out, his voice filled with confusion. "We're picking up signals, thousands of them, coming from all over the system." Zixtor frowned. "What kind of signals?" "Communications, sir. And weapons systems. Highly advanced weapons systems." The Admiral's blood ran cold. This wasn't possible. No newly discovered race should have technology spread throughout their entire system. "Show me," he demanded. The view screen lit up, displaying a dizzying array of structures orbiting not just Terra, but nearly every planet and moon in the system. Space stations, defense platforms, and ships of various sizes and shapes filled the screen. And then, a message crackled through their communications system. A face appeared on the screen. A strange, hairless being with 2 eyes and a mouth full of flat teeth. It spoke in a language the universal translators took a moment to decipher. "Greetings, visitors," the being said, its tone friendly but cautious. "Welcome to the Sol system. I am Admiral Chen of the United Earth Defense Force. We've been expecting you." Zixtor's jaw dropped. They had been expecting them. How? Why? And more importantly, how had this species achieved such a level of technological advancement without the Empire's knowledge? As the reality of the situation sank in, Zixtor realized that this first contact was going to be very different from what he had imagined. The Galactic Empire's warning to run might just end up being directed at themselves, rather than the inhabitants of Terra. For the first time in his long career, Admiral Zixtor felt a flicker of fear. The age-old certainty of the Empire's supremacy suddenly seemed less absolute. As he prepared to respond to the humans' greeting, one thought echoed in his mind. This changes everything. Admiral Zixtor's scaled fingers trembled slightly as he adjusted his uniform. The human's face still filled the view screen, patient and curious. Zixtor cleared his throat, trying to regain his composure. "Greetings, Admiral Chen," he said, his translator converting his words to the human language. "I am Admiral Zixtor of the Galactic Empire. We come in peace." The human's lips curved into what Zixtor recognized as a smile. "We're glad to hear that, Admiral Zixtor. We'd be happy to arrange a meeting to discuss diplomatic relations." Zixtor nodded, still off balance. This wasn't how first contact usually went. The Empire was supposed to be in control, not scrambling to keep up. "Yes, of course. We would be honored." As arrangements were made for a delegation to board a neutral space station, Zixtor huddled with his advisors. "How is this possible?" he hissed. "Our long-range scans showed nothing like this level of advancement." Blob, the gelatinous advisor, rippled nervously. "It seems, Admiral, that the humans have some form of cloaking technology far beyond our own. They've hidden their true capabilities from us." The implications were staggering. If humans could hide entire planets' worth of technology from the Empire's best scanners, what else could they do? Hours later, Zixtor found himself face to face with Admiral Chen and a team of human diplomats. The meeting room on the space station was sleek and modern, with holographic displays showing both Terran and Imperial data. "We've been observing your empire for some time," Chen explained, his tone friendly but firm. "We wanted to understand your intentions before making our presence known." Zixtor's mind reeled. They had been watching the Empire. For how long? I see," he managed to say. "And what have you concluded about our intentions?" Chen's expression turned serious. "We've seen how you treat other species, Admiral. The subjugation, the exploitation. We want to make it clear that Earth and humanity will not submit to such treatment." The room fell silent. Zixtor felt a bead of sweat, or whatever the reptilian equivalent was, form on his brow. This was not how things were supposed to go. The Empire didn't receive ultimatums. They gave them. "Perhaps," Zixtor said carefully, "we could discuss a mutually beneficial arrangement. The Empire has much to offer in terms of resources and protection." Chen smiled again, but this time it didn't reach his eyes. "That's kind of you, Admiral. But I think you'll find that we're quite capable of protecting ourselves. In fact, we have some technologies that might interest you." With a wave of his hand, Chen activated a holographic display. It showed schematics of ships and weapons far more advanced than anything in the Imperial arsenal. Zixtor's eyes widened in disbelief. "How?" he began, but words failed him. "We've had a lot of time to develop," Chen explained. "While your empire was busy conquering and exploiting, we were innovating and exploring. We've mapped galaxies you haven't even discovered yet." The implications hit Zixtor like a plasma blast. The Empire wasn't just facing a new species, they were facing a potential rival. One that could, quite possibly, surpass them. "What do you want from us?" Zixtor asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Chen leaned forward, his gaze intense. "We want peace, Admiral. But we also want change. The galaxy doesn't need an empire, it needs a community. We're proposing an alliance of equals, where all species are respected and protected." Zixtor's mind raced. Such an idea was foreign to the Empire's way of thinking. But as he looked at the human technology on display, he realized they might not have a choice. I will need to consult with my superiors, Zixtor said, trying to buy time. Chen nodded understandingly. Of course. Take all the time you need. But remember, Admiral, the choice is simple. Evolve or be left behind. The galaxy is changing, with or without the Empire's approval. As Zixtor prepared to return to his ship, he couldn't shake the feeling that everything was about to change. The Empire had always seen itself as the pinnacle of galactic civilization. But now, faced with the incredible advancements of humanity, that belief was crumbling. For the first time in millennia, the Galactic Empire found itself not as the conqueror, but as the ones being given a warning. Adapt or run. The stars seemed to shine a little differently as Zixtor's shuttle departed the station. The universe, it seemed, was full of surprises, and humanity was the biggest surprise of all. The grand halls of the Imperial Palace on Zix Prime echoed with angry voices. Admiral Zixtor stood before the High Council. His report on the humans met with disbelief and outrage. "Impossible," shouted Councillor Draz, his tentacles waving wildly. "No species could advance so quickly without our knowledge." Zixtor held his ground. "I've seen it with my own eyes, councillors. The humans possess technology far beyond our own. They offer alliance, but they will not be conquered. The Emperor himself, a being of pure energy contained within a hovering orb, pulsed with agitation. This cannot be allowed." His voice boomed. "The Empire does not ally. We rule." As the Council argued, light years away on Earth, Admiral Chen was having a similar meeting with the United Earth government. "They're scared," Chen explained to the assembled leaders. "The Empire has never faced a species like us before. They don't know how to react." President Samira Rodriguez leaned forward, her dark eyes serious. "And what do you suggest we do, Admiral?" Chen's reply was firm. "We stand our ground. We've offered peace, but we must be ready for war." Back on Zix Prime, the Imperial Council had reached a decision. "We will send a delegation to Earth," the Emperor declared. "They will assess the human strength and find weaknesses we can exploit." Zixtor felt a chill run down his spine. He knew the humans would see through such a ploy. Weeks later, a massive Imperial battleship entered Earth's orbit. On board, Grand Diplomat Selna prepared for her mission. Her species was known for their ability to read emotions and manipulate minds. The Empire was certain she would uncover the human secrets. As Selna's shuttle descended to the gleaming spaceport in New Beijing, she marveled at the advanced architecture. Buildings seemed to defy gravity, and vehicles zipped through the air in orderly lanes. President Rodriguez greeted the Imperial delegation personally, her smile warm but her eyes cautious. "Welcome to Earth, Grand Diplomat. We hope your stay will be productive." Zelna bowed slightly, her antennae twitching as she tried to read the human's emotions. To her shock, she found her abilities blocked. The humans were shielded against her powers. Over the next few days, Selna and her team were given a tour of Earth's major cities and research facilities. Everywhere they went, they saw technology that matched or exceeded the Empire's best. In a quantum computing lab in Nairobi, Selna finally lost her composure. "How?" she demanded of the lead scientist. "How have you advanced so quickly?" Dr. Ameri smiled kindly. "We work together, Grand Diplomat. All of humanity, united towards common goals. Our diversity is our strength." The concept was foreign to Selna. In the Empire, different species were kept separate, competing for the Emperor's favor. As the diplomatic mission continued, tensions grew. The Empire's delegation became increasingly frustrated by their inability to find exploitable weaknesses. The humans, for their part, grew tired of the thinly veiled attempts at espionage. Things came to a head during a state dinner in Washington, D.C. Selna, frustrated by her failure, accused the humans of hiding their true nature. "You must have a hidden fleet, secret weapons. No species trusts each other this much." Admiral Chen, present at the dinner, stood up slowly. The room fell silent. "Grand Diplomat," he said calmly, "our greatest weapon is our unity. something your empire clearly doesn't understand. Zelma's face flushed with anger. The empire will not be mocked. We have conquered galaxies. We. You've conquered, yes, interrupted President Rodriguez. But have you ever truly allied with anyone? Has the empire ever seen another species as equals? The question hung in the air, unanswered. As Selna's ship departed Earth a few days later, the diplomatic mission deemed a failure, the empire faced a difficult choice. Could they accept an alliance of equals, or would they risk war with a species that seemed to match them in every way? On Zix Prime, the Emperor received Selna's report with growing anger. "Prepare the fleet," he ordered. "If the humans will not submit, they will be destroyed." But as the Imperial war machine began to move, a message arrived from Earth. It was short, but chilling in its simplicity. "We know you're coming. We'll be ready. Last chance for peace." The battle lines were drawn. The galaxy held its breath, waiting to see if the age-old empire would adapt, or if it would learn a harsh lesson from the newcomers called humans. The void of space lit up with the arrival of the Imperial Armada. Thousands of ships, from massive dreadnoughts to nimble fighters, dropped out of hyperspace near the edge of the solar system. At the head of the fleet was the Emperor's personal warship, the Eternal Flame, a vessel the size of a small moon. Admiral Zixtor stood on the bridge of his command ship, a sense of dread filling his stomach. He had argued against this attack, but the Emperor would not listen. Now, they were committed to a war he feared they could not win. "Status report," Zixtor barked, his forearms tense at his sides. Lieutenant Kree's feathers were ruffled with nervous energy. "No sign of the human fleet, sir. Our scans show their orbital defenses, but their ships are missing." Zixtor's eyes narrowed. This wasn't right. The humans should have been prepared. Where was their fleet? On Earth, deep within a mountain fortress, Admiral Chen watched the Imperial fleet's approach on a massive holographic display. Around him, human military leaders from around the world stood in tense silence. "They've taken the bait," Chen said softly. "All ships prepare to execute Operation Trojan Horse." Across the solar system, hidden in the shadows of planets, asteroids, and artificial structures, the human fleet waited. Their advanced cloaking technology, far beyond anything the Empire possessed, kept them invisible to Imperial sensors. Back on the Imperial flagship, the Emperor's hologram appeared before Zixtor. "Begin the attack," the energy being commanded. "Show these upstart humans the true might of the Empire." Zixtor hesitated for just a moment before giving the order. "All ships, advance on the third planet. Prepare to fire on my mark." As the Imperial fleet moved deeper into the solar system, tension built on both sides. The humans watched, waiting for the perfect moment to spring their trap. Suddenly, alarms blared across the Imperial ships. "Multiple contacts," Kree shouted. They're everywhere." The space around the Imperial fleet erupted with activity. Human ships of all sizes decloaked, surrounding the invaders in a three-dimensional web of firepower. Before the Empire could react, the humans opened fire. Advanced energy weapons, far more powerful than anything the Empire had encountered, tore through Imperial shields like they were made of paper. Swarms of small, agile fighters darted between the larger ships, causing chaos and destruction. "Return fire," Zixtor roared, but it was too late. The surprise was total, and the Empire's formation had been shattered in the opening salvo. On Earth, Chen watched with a mix of satisfaction and sadness. He took no joy in the loss of life, but the Empire had left them no choice. "Execute Phase 2, he ordered. Across the battlefield, human ships began to emit a strange energy field. Imperial weapons fire simply disappeared into the field, robbed of all destructive power. Meanwhile, the humans' attacks continued unabated. In the heart of the Imperial formation, the Emperor raged. "This is impossible. No species has ever stood against us like this." Zixtor watched in horror as ship after ship in his fleet was disabled or destroyed. The mighty empire, which had conquered 1,000 worlds, was being systematically dismantled before his eyes. "Your Majesty," Zixter said, his voice heavy with defeat, "we must retreat. We cannot win this battle." For a long moment, the Emperor said nothing. Then, in a voice filled with disbelief and fear, he gave the order, "All ships, fall back. Retreat to Imperial space." As the battered remnants of the once mighty fleet limped away, the humans did not pursue. They had made their point. The Empire was no longer the unstoppable force it once was. In the aftermath of the battle, Admiral Chen addressed the leaders of Earth. "This is only the beginning," he warned. "The Empire will not take this defeat lightly. We must be prepared for a long war." But even as he spoke, messages were flooding in from across the galaxy. Other species, long oppressed by the Empire, had witnessed the battle. They saw hope in humanity's victory. The balance of power was shifting, and the age of the Galactic Empire was coming to an end. As Zixtor's ship retreated, he looked back at the blue planet that had changed everything. For the first time in the Empire's long history, they had been given a warning: beware of humans. And Zixtor knew, deep in his heart, that the galaxy would never be the same again. The grand halls of the Imperial Palace on Zix Prime, once a symbol of unquestioned power, now echoed with angry voices and fearful whispers. News of the devastating defeat at the hands of the humans had spread quickly, shaking the Empire to its core. Emperor Zorn, his energy form pulsing with barely contained rage, floated above the gathered council. "How?" he thundered. "How could we have been so thoroughly defeated?" Admiral Zixtor stood before the council, his scales pale with exhaustion. "Your Majesty, the humans possess technology far beyond our own. Their tactics were unprecedented." Murmurs rippled through the assembled alien races. Some called for immediate retaliation, others for caution. The Empire had never faced such a crisis in its long history. Councillor Draz, his tentacles writhing nervously, spoke up. Perhaps we should consider negotiation. The humans offered peace before. Maybe." Silence. The Emperor roared. The room fell quiet instantly. "We do not negotiate. We do not surrender. We are the Empire." But even as he spoke, doubt crept into the minds of many present. The humans had proved themselves a force to be reckoned with. Could the Empire truly stand against them? Meanwhile, across the galaxy, news of the human victory spread like wildfire. On countless worlds under Imperial rule, hope began to stir. On the desert planet of Kirax, Resistance leader Scylla gathered her fellow rebels in a hidden cave. Her compound eyes gleamed with excitement as she shared the news. "The humans have done what we thought impossible," she chittered. "They've defeated the Empire in open battle." Cheers erupted from the assembled aliens, a mix of various species united in their desire for freedom. For the first time in generations, they dared to dream of a future free from Imperial oppression. Back on Earth, Admiral Chen stood before the United Earth government, delivering his report on the battle's aftermath. "We've received messages from over 100 worlds," he explained. "They're looking to us for leadership, for hope." President Rodriguez leaned forward, her expression serious. "And what do you suggest we do, Admiral? We can't fight the Empire's battles for them." Chen nodded. "No, but we can offer support, guidance. Many of these species have technologies of their own that the Empire suppressed. Together, we could form a coalition that could stand against the Empire." As discussions continued on Earth, the Empire faced its own internal struggles. On the industrial world of Mechos, Imperial factories ground to a halt as workers, inspired by the human victory, went on strike. Governor Klex, a robot-like being, frantically called Zix Prime. The workers refused to return to their stations. He reported, his metallic voice tinged with panic. "They're demanding rights, representation. They're using words like democracy." Similar reports flooded in from across Imperial space. The once iron grip of the Empire was slipping, and everyone knew it. In a secret meeting room on 6 Prime, a group of high-ranking officials gathered. Admiral Zixtor looked around at the assembled beings, representatives from some of the Empire's most powerful worlds. "We cannot win this war," Zixtor said softly. "The humans are too advanced, and now our own people are turning against us. We must sue for peace before it's too late." Counselor Vex, a crystalline being, chimed in agreement. "The Emperor is blinded by pride. If we continue on this path, the Empire will crumble." As they debated their next move, a message arrived from an unexpected source. It was from the humans, broadcast on all frequencies across the galaxy. "To all species suffering under Imperial rule, you are not alone. Earth stands ready to assist any world seeking freedom. The age of the Empire is ending. The age of cooperation and mutual respect is beginning. Join us in building a better galaxy for all." The message played on repeat, in every language impossible to silence. In homes and hideouts, on starships and space stations, hope blossomed. The Empire stood at a crossroads. Would it adapt to this new reality, or would it continue its doomed war against humanity and its own subject worlds? As Zixtor left the secret meeting, he looked up at the starry sky. Somewhere out there, the humans were waiting, ready to reshape the galaxy. And for the first time in his long life, Zixtor found himself hoping that change would come, even if it meant the end of everything he had known. The warning to run had been given. Now the question was, who would heed it? The massive space station Unity hung in orbit around a neutral world, Proxima b. Its sleek design, a blend of human and alien technologies, symbolized the growing alliance against the Empire. Inside, representatives from 100 worlds gathered, united by their desire for freedom. Admiral Chen stood at the head of the conference table, his face grim. "The Empire is planning a major offensive," he announced. "They're gathering their remaining forces for one final push." Sela, the rebel leader from Carax, chittered nervously. "Can we withstand such an attack? Many of our worlds are still recovering from Imperial rule." Chen nodded understanding. "It won't be easy, but together, we have a chance. Humanity will stand with you." As the Alliance prepared for war, on 6 Prime, Emperor Zorn rallied his loyal subjects. His energy form pulsed with determination and rage. "The humans and their alien lackeys think they can destroy our glorious empire," he boomed. "We will show them the true meaning of power." But even as he spoke, doubt gnawed at many in the Imperial ranks. Admiral Zixtor, watching from the sidelines, felt a sense of impending doom. The stage was set for a battle that would determine the fate of the galaxy. In the Arcturus system, the two fleets faced each other. The Imperial Armada, a vast sea of warships, faced off against the smaller but more diverse Alliance fleet. On the bridge of the human flagship Hope, Admiral Chen surveyed the enemy forces. Beside him stood representatives from various alien races, each bringing unique skills and technologies to the fight. "All ships, report in," Chen commanded. One by one, the Allied vessels sounded off. Sela's voice came through, representing the swift Caraxian ships. Vex's crystalline tones reported for the powerful Lumina cruisers. Dozens more followed, a symphony of unity. Across the void, Admiral Zixtor stood on his own bridge, conflicted. He knew the Empire's cause was lost, but his duty demanded he fight. "Imperial fleet, advance," he ordered, his voice heavy. The space between the fleets lit up with weapons fire. Imperial ships launched waves of fighters, while Alliance vessels responded with advanced energy weapons and strange, organic-looking ships that seemed to phase in and out of reality. On Hope, Chen watched the battle unfold. "Activate the Harmony Network," he commanded. Across the Alliance fleet, a web of energy connected the ships. Suddenly, they began moving in perfect synchronization, as if guided by a single mind. Imperial attacks that should have been devastating were anticipated and avoided with impossible precision. Zixtor watched in awe and terror as his fleet's formation crumbled. Alliance ships slipped through gaps in their defenses, striking with surgical precision. "It's not possible," he muttered. "How can they coordinate so perfectly?" On a smaller Imperial ship, young Officer Tarak watched the battle with growing realization. The Empire he had served faithfully was outmatched, outmaneuvered, and out-evolved. Making a decision, Tarak opened a channel to the Alliance flagship. "This is Imperial Officer Tarak," he transmitted. I wish to defect. Please, let me help end this war." His action sparked a chain reaction. Across the Imperial fleet, ships began to lower their weapons. Crew members, long fed propaganda about human barbarity, saw the truth of the Alliance's unity and strength. Emperor Zorn, watching from his command ship, roared in fury. "Traitors! Cowards! I will destroy you all myself." His flagship, the Eternal Flame, surged forward, weapons charging for a suicidal attack on the Alliance center. Chen's voice crackled across all channels. "Emperor Zorn, stand down. This war is over. Let's end this without further bloodshed." But the Emperor was beyond reason. "The Empire is eternal," he screamed, his ship plunging towards hope. In that moment, Zixter made his choice. His own vessel moved to intercept the Eternal Flame, shields blazing as he put himself between the Emperor and the Alliance. "Your Majesty," Zixtor transmitted, "the warning to run was meant for us." It's time we listened. The Emperor's ship collided with Zixtor's, both erupting in a massive explosion. The light faded, leaving stunned silence across both fleets. In the aftermath, Imperial ships stood down one by one. The battle was over. The war was won. On hope, Chen looked out at the stars, a mix of emotions on his face. "Send word to Earth and all allied worlds," he said softly. "The galaxy is entering a new age." As the news spread, celebrations erupted across countless worlds. The Empire had fallen. Freedom had won. And humanity, once unknown, had risen to reshape the very fabric of galactic society. The warning to run had been heeded, but not in the way anyone had expected. Instead of fleeing, the galaxy had run towards a brighter, more united future. 1 year had passed since the fall of the Galactic Empire. The grand halls of the former Imperial Palace on Zix Prime, once a symbol of oppression, now bustled with activity of a different kind. Representatives from hundreds of worlds moved through its corridors, no longer as subjects, but as equals. In the central chamber, newly renamed the Hall of Unity, Admiral Chen stood before the assembled delegates. His uniform, now adorned with symbols from various alien cultures, represented the new Galactic Alliance. "Friends, allies, fellow sentients," Chen began, his voice carrying across the room. "1 year ago, we stood together against tyranny. Today, we gather to build a future of cooperation and mutual respect." Among the crowd, familiar faces could be seen. Sela, the Caraxian rebel leader, now served as her world's ambassador. Vex, the crystalline being who had once secretly opposed the Empire, led a committee on technological exchange. But perhaps most surprising was the presence of former Imperial citizens. Tarak, the young officer who had defected during the final battle, now worked tirelessly to help former Imperial worlds transition to self-governance. As Chen spoke of plans for the future, a murmur ran through the crowd. A new delegation was entering the hall. To everyone's shock, it was led by a face many had thought gone forever. Admiral Zixtor, scared but very much alive, walked slowly towards the center of the room. The hall fell silent. Chen stepped forward, tension visible in his stance. "Admiral Zixtor," he said cautiously, "we had believed you perished in the final battle." Zixtor nodded, his 4 eyes blinking slowly. "I nearly did," he replied, "but it seems the universe had other plans for me." He turned to address the assembly. "I come not to disrupt, but to offer a warning. A warning born from the ashes of the empire I once served." The room held its breath as Zixtor continued. "The warning is this: beware the path of empire. Beware the lure of power over others. For in seeking to rule, we lose sight of what truly matters: understanding, growth, and the beauty of diversity. He gestured around the room. Look at what you have built here, a union of different species, cultures, and ideas. This is what the Empire feared most. Not your weapons or your technology, but your ability to unite, to see worth in those different from yourselves. Zixtor's gaze fell on Chen. Humans taught us this lesson. They could have conquered us, replaced one empire with another. Instead, they offered a hand in friendship, even to their enemies. The former admiral's voice grew soft. So heed this warning, not just you in this room, but all across the galaxy. The next time you encounter a species unknown to you, remember the humans. Remember how they turned enemies into allies, how they saw strength in diversity, where we saw only weakness to exploit. He straightened, his voice gaining strength. Let the fall of the Empire be a lesson to all. The warning to run was not meant for you to flee from humans or any other race. It was a warning to run from the very idea of empire, from the notion that any one species or ideology should dominate others. As Zixtor finished, the hall erupted in applause. Chen stepped forward, extending his hand to the former Imperial Admiral. After a moment's hesitation, Zixtor took it. "Welcome," Chen said warmly. "Your wisdom will be valuable as we build this new galactic community." In the days that followed, news of Zixtor's speech spread across the galaxy. On countless worlds, beings of all shapes and sizes reflected on its meaning. The warning to run had been transformed. No longer a threat, but a promise to run towards understanding, towards cooperation, towards a future where the diversity of the galaxy was celebrated, not feared. As ships of all designs sailed between the stars, carrying diplomats, traders, and explorers, a new era dawned. The age of empire was over. The age of unity had begun. And at the heart of it all was humanity, not as conquerors or saviors, but as friends, partners, and fellow travelers on the grand journey of galactic civilization. The stars themselves seemed to shine brighter, as if in approval of this new path. The warning had been heeded, and the galaxy was all the better for it.